When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who chose to oppose his shield must yield. If he's led to a fight and a duel is due, then the red and the white and the blue will come through when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Welcome to episode 31 of the Hodgepodge podcast. I'm your host, Doug.
And I'm Dirty A. As the name suggests, we're going to talk about a hodgepodge of topics, anywhere from movies, music, TV, and other pop culture events.
And on this episode, we welcome author Matt King to discuss Captain America, the Winter Soldier. You can reach us at the hodgepodgepodcast at gmail.com or over on our website, thehodgepodgepodcast.com, or over on my review blog, dubreviews.blogspot.com. And as I just mentioned in the intro, our good friend, author Matt King, is here to discuss Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
Good to have you. All right. Enough with the pleasant.
I was like, are you going to say anything to him?
Let's cut to the chase.
So a few weeks ago, Matt and I saw a free screening of Captain America 2.
Suck my balls.
Yeah.
And then last week...
That's not the byline on it, by the way. It's not Captain America 2, Suck My Balls. Yeah. Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier.
It wouldn't have ruined
That's what we're talking about here, right?
And last weekend it opened to... And it was a total bomb.
Total bomb.
It only made $96 million
in
its first weekend domestically.
Terrible.
So...
What are you going to do?
Suck it, Steve Rogers.
I guess
You're
this
finished.
is the end of the Captain America
Looks like
movies.
Marvel's
Yes.
on the way down. Yeah.
They're screwed. When I wrote my review of it, my first line was, step aside, Iron Man, because the world is about to have a new favorite Avenger. And that's really how I felt about it after I saw it. It's really a fantastic movie. It's really, really good. This was the one sequel of all the solo movies that I was looking forward to the most. And they really knocked it out of the park. Chris Evans is perfect as Captain America, and it's just a really, really good movie.
Yeah, he really steps it up this time. First one was just good for me.
Yeah.
Nothing overly special, but this one was just at that next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, of all the Phase 2 movies, so that's starting with Iron Man 3 and then ending at Guardians of the Galaxy. No.
Oh, that's
Okay,
right. That's right.
All right, so of
Well,
those movies,
Remains to be seen.
I would say the Cap 2 was the one I was least looking forward to right after Avengers. I thought Iron Man 3 would be pretty good. I was really looking forward to Thor, and Guardians is just kind of it's one of those movies I just want to see it. I think it's going to be really good.
Right.
Yeah.
But right after the Thor or the Dark World trailer came out, I think you and I both had the similar opinions where it was kind of like,
Yeah.
And then the movie came out
and middling, I will say. But with each Captain America trailer, that movie started leapfrogging others, up the hierarchy. And by the end, this was my most anticipated. And it delivered. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of action in it.
Oh.
This one actually, it was funny because this is what I've been saying to people about it, but also Samuel L. Jackson said the same thing on The Daily Show just last week. He was like, all the other movies are good, but this one actually has a plot. I'm like,
true. Yeah,
exactly.
This is the quintessential action movie with a real plot.
Yeah, it's not a perfect movie. I mean, it has its little. I have my little quibbles.
Yes, it is perfect.
I have my little quibbles with it here and there, but not enough to. I mean, I think it's the best movie Marvel Studios has put out. I think it's better. I liked it better than Avengers.
Yeah, I felt just like you did. You said in your review on Avengers,
right?
In that, for me, from an entertainment value perspective, having fun and action, Avengers, but from a pure movie perspective, from how good the movie is, including plot and the action scenes, Captain America is the better technical film.
Yeah,
I can buy that. I think. I don't know. When I weigh the movies, I give Avengers a little more weight. I think just because it's an event.
That's fair.
It was
that's true. I mean, that's true.
The first time all these heroes were together in one film, and a lot of people said it wasn't going to turn out great. It was going to be this jumbled mess, and it turned out. It was really good.
No, Avengers. I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, when I say that like Captain America: Winter Soldier is better than Avengers, I'm like, man, it blows it away. I mean, it's just like slightly better than Avengers.
Yeah.
And I'm anticipating that Age of Ultron will step it up
I
another
hope so.
notch.
I hope so too.
It's I thought the same thing when Avengers first came out. I'm like, so many characters. How can you possibly develop anything when you have upwards of 10 main characters on the screen? But they did a really good job with that. But the plot of this one's a lot more intricate.
It was.
Yeah.
And the action scenes were a lot tighter.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
action
I mean,
scenes were
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's some of the best hand-to-hand fighting I've seen in a movie since probably The Raid.
Oh yeah. There's a Raid 2 coming out soon.
Yep. I mean, it was brutal, just mean fighting.
Yeah, you tense up.
Yeah, and it multiple times during the movie, people were like, just really, audibly reacting to these things because it just looks like it hurts so bad. It's like, when Cat comes, streaming towards Winter Soldier with a knee, right in his chest, and Winter Soldier goes into the car. Man, that thing, oh my God, it looked like it hurt so bad. But, and the choreography was just really well done.
It really was.
Yeah, everything was great about it. I mean, you said, I guess you watched the clip, which was, I guess, the freighter
clip,
thing in the beginning, and you were just raving about it. You were like, they finally got Captain America's fighting right.
Yeah,
like they finally got it right. I think overall, I liked Captain America. Yeah, I think he is like my favorite Avenger. Like when I saw the Avengers movie, I liked the Hulk just like everybody else did, like how they treated the Hulk. But I like the way that Cap like came to life in that movie, and like he got right into like the leadership role and took over and everything like that. And then it just goes another step further, and like it was just really, really good. And the supporting cast is amazing in this. Like Scarlett Johansson's great as Black Widow. They have a great dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah.
I thought for sure when I saw the trailers that they were going to put the Falcon in, and he was going to be like token black guy, and he's not. Anthony Mackie is great.
No, they developed his character wonderfully, and
they really did.
He acted it perfectly.
They really did, and like, and then I was saying to a buddy of mine last night. I was like, when I saw Captain America: First Avenger, I was like, I can't wait to see the next Captain America movie. And now after I've seen this, I'm like, I can't wait to see Captain America and the Falcon in the next one. Like it's like in the third one.
They complement each other well. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I was left wanting to see more of the Falcon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, no offense to Howard or Cheadle, but this is the sidekick. The sidekick you want to see.
Right. And then you've got Sam Jackson has a bigger part in this than he did in any of the other movies.
I think this is the best Nick Fury has been portrayed in a movie.
Yeah.
And including Avengers.
Yeah.
And same goes for Black Widow. I mean, I know that Whedon does really well with female characters, but Widow had more to do in this.
Yeah.
And her part was more important.
And she was more like Black Widow.
She was more like Black Widow. And Scarlett Johansson played her really well.
Yeah, I mean, because in Avengers, there were a couple moments in Avengers when I'm like, the way Scarlett Johansson delivered some of the lines, I was like, that's not Black Widow.
You're Scarlett. Corny.
Not corny so much, but it was just like you're an American girl. You're Scarlett Johansson, And
gotcha. Yeah.
Whereas in this, she was more like the super spy that she's supposed to be. Yeah, and you're right about Nick Fury. Nick Fury, I mean, usually he's just standing around and.
Well, usually he's Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
With an eye patch.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like that this time. It was like because the
especially at the end.
Especially at the end. But I feel like the direction he's gotten in the past is. The character in the Ultimates was based on you anyway, so just be Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
We'll call him Nick Fury.
Yeah.
But in this one, I felt like, it felt like he was the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he was a super spy.
He embodied the character a little more.
Yeah. I mean, he's really good. And the same, like, that's just kind of the same I feel for, like, Chris Evans, like, and how he basically is Steve Rogers. Like he's great. And it's like, with Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic in that role, but as the movies have gone on, he's become less Tony Stark and more just Robert Downey Jr. in an iron suit. And I like Hemsworth as Thor, but really those movies belong to Loki for the most part.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Thor has yet to star in a Thor movie. I feel like
exactly. They need to get rid of Loki if they do. They're doing Thor 3, right?
Yeah.
Damn it.
So they need to shunt Loki off to the side or do something with him.
Well, I don't see how they're going to do that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Given the end of the Dark World, and plus Loki
That's true.
He's pretty ingrained in the. But besides being ingrained in the plot, everyone loves him so much. That he's going to draw the crowd.
Yeah, but I do want Thor to be the center of his next movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first movie, it's the origin story but it's the origin story of Thor and Loki.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
In the second movie, they went back and shot a lot of extra scenes with Loki because they liked how well he was working in the movie, and he did really well in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh no, he did.
He always does well. He's really, he is Loki, just as RDJ is Iron Man.
Right.
And that's one thing I think Marvel deserves a lot of credit for is just their casting.
Yeah. Yeah.
For their main roles.
Right. Well, a lot of the credit for Iron Man needs to go to Jon Favreau. I mean, because he actually fought for him because they didn't want him at first.
They want Terrence Howard was up for the part.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago when they were talking about doing Iron Man the first time around. It was supposed to be Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about getting Tom Cruise to be.
I remember that. Oh, that would have been horrible.
Well, I think it would have been a similar case. It would have been like it's just Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, basically. I mean, So we're getting a little off track talking about Captain America, but that's cool because this is a Marvel-centric podcast.
Okay.
But we should probably also talk about the eponymous Winter Soldier, and he is played by Sebastian Stan, who played another character in the first Captain America movie.
See if you can recognize him.
Yeah, see if you can recognize him. In my review, I made it a little bit of a spoiler, but that's because I don't know how closely people watch the trailer.
Well, I mean, they put him without a mask on the.
Oh, that's right, they did. They did.
Poster, right?
That's right, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
So yeah, not a spoiler.
Okay, yeah. So he's Bucky.
Yeah.
From
What?
He's Bucky from the first movie. The story. Now, I never read the comic version of it. Did you read the Winter Soldier story? How closely does this movie hedge to the actual story?
I mean, it was pretty close. I mean, the original Winter Soldier story, he was working for the Russians.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So that part they kind of didn't really.
They kind of glossed over. They
kinda
kind of glossed that over.
So, but it stuck kind of close to that story. I think Brubaker was actually in the movie.
He is. Yeah. He's in the scene when they're
He was in
wiping
the
his
lab,
mind.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ed Brubaker.
I know they were
wrote
big
the
fans
story.
of that run of the books.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a great story too.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'll check that out when I read it. Now the big twist, which we won't talk about in the movie because we don't want to spoil it for everybody, but the big twist, that's not in that story, is it? Or is it sort of in that story?
No, there's a different sort of twist in that one.
Okay. Yeah, so he was great. Sebastian Stan was great. It was funny, I was watching an interview with him on Collider, and he seems very, very uncomfortable with like the whole with the interview thing. Like Chris Evans is like, "Yeah, man, great, yeah, woo, yeah."
He didn't used to be like that though.
Oh, really?
Evans used to be sort of like not quite as bad as Sebastian Stan, but he looked very uncomfortable, like when Captain America: The First Avenger, was being filmed, and I don't think he was ready for the spotlight or even wanted the spotlight around that.
He really doesn't.
No.
He really doesn't.
He's way more comfortable now in interviews.
Yeah.
He's handling the stupid questions well.
Yeah, but Sebastian Stan was like, I mean, he was like awkward.
Yeah, he is.
And I liked, because people. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for people who don't read the comics, but at the same time, this isn't like Game of Thrones where it's like a finite series. Like Captain America goes on forever and ever, so it's like I did like the hints that they had in the movie of what could possibly happen in the future with the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm. No, they handled that well, and it's nice that it wasn't sort of just wrapped up in a nice, clean, pretty package at the end.
Yeah, I really liked. I liked the because there's two ending Easter eggs. We won't talk about the first one because that's a huge spoiler for Avengers, and you really want to see that yourself. But the second one we can talk about. It really just kind of leads into the next Captain America, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, this movie ends sort of giving a hint to where Cap's going to go next.
Right. Yeah.
And then the final credit scene. You see the same thing, but from Bucky's perspective. Almost.
Yes, right.
So.
Yeah, and you got to stay all the way through the credits.
Right.
The first one is after the title credits, and then or not the title, but how they break them up, and then after the whole big list of everybody, then they have the tag on. It's not as useless as the tag that was on Iron Man. And
I liked the Iron Man tag. I thought that was kind of funny.
No, I like the Iron Man tag, but as far as like I'm talking about, like this actually is kind of driving the plot a little bit into the future.
Yes,
the Thor one was
okay. not so much.
a waste. Not the first one that set up Guardians. The one that was after that. The one that was after
the
that.
one where it's like Thor came back to Earth and got back with Jane in an after credits scene.
Terrible.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
It's almost as bad as making Sinestro put on the yellow ring.
Oh God, that was
It was
awful.
almost as bad as the movie itself.
I'm telling you, I know you don't believe me. I'm telling you, watch it a second
I
time.
will not do it.
I will not say.
Yeah. It's because you're afraid to be wrong, and I'm telling you.
I'm not.
I might watch it because I need to get the Blu-rays because I gotta, and we're gonna kind of, so basically go see Captain America Winter Soldier.
Right. Well,
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's one of, if not the best Marvel Studios movie out there.
Yeah.
And
it's the best solo movie. And
Can't say enough about it. Yeah.
and we can't say enough about it. We don't want to spoil the big twists that are in it. And
I mean, they are so confident now in Captain America that even before this one came out, they announced that the next one will go up against the same weekend as Superman versus Batman.
yeah, which will probably move.
it's funny. They're both.
That's bold.
Yeah, it's a stupid situation. So Marvel last year, I want to say it was like last summer.
Something like that.
They're like, yeah, okay, here's our slate for 2016. We're releasing a movie on May 6th, and we're releasing a movie on June or July or something like that. I forget which date it was.
Probably July.
But they didn't announce.
No. It's 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
I don't know. See, I'm thinking Ant-Man and
So,
15.
but they didn't announce the names because that's typically not what they do. They wait
Right.
until
Throw the dates in there.
they throw it out there, and then they kind of surprise the fans with the announcement later.
At
on.
Comic-Con.
So yeah, they had those dates sort of they stuck their flag in those dates, and then once Batman versus Superman got delayed,
Yeah.
they were like, what was the excuse they had? It was like we want to give it time to fully realize its potential. I think.
They realized.
Yeah, but
there's a bunch of BS because they basically realized that they were rushing it, and so they said, "Oh, now we got to make more time." So
well, I mean,
spin.
I'm actually sort of glad that they're doing it because originally Goyer wrote that script,
right?
and I had problems with Man of Steel, and most of them come down to Goyer.
The screenplay. Yeah.
So the fact that they were delaying it so that Chris Terrio, the guy that wrote Argo with
Right.
Affleck,
With Ben Affleck.
that he was going to come in and do some work on the script. I was like, oh, hell yes. I'm all for this delay. And then they're like, and we're delaying it until May 6th, 2016. And right away I was like, what are you doing? It almost felt like kind of,
kind of chesty.
kind of chesty on DC's part. It's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that from WB on this.
Now they start shooting that next month, right? Or in 2 months or something like that?
Yeah, in a few weeks they start up.
So I'm thinking what they're going to have with Batman and Superman, that they're going to have a kind of Star Trek situation that J.J. Abrams had. Because, like, the Star Trek movies, at least the first one, I think, was supposed to come out, like, in December, and then they didn't have enough time, so they backed it up. And he had all this time.
Well, Man of Steel was like that, too. Man of
That's
Steel was
right.
supposed to open in December.
You're right. You're absolutely
and
right.
Like, no.
And they had all this time to, like, to let it breathe. To be honest, Batman and Superman should come out in April. They should put it out in April, like Captain America just did this time, and they'll have no competition, and they can just go, crush, Rio 3 or whatever the fuck's coming out, and then
nothing's going to stop people from seeing that movie.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, if they still come out on the same day, I would obviously go see both that weekend.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that weekend,
I'm going to go see both.
back to back.
On midnight showings.
Yeah, the 8 o'clock midnight showing.
Yeah, the only question will be which one do you see first?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not going to happen. They're not going to keep it on the
No,
same
no,
day.
they won't. They won't.
But, both of them now are like, Kevin Feige, somebody asked him, and they're like, well, now that Batman versus Superman has moved in on that date, are you guys going to move? And he's like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
He said something like, yeah, the more the merrier. And I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because, that's money out of your pocket. That's money out of their pocket.
Yeah.
Nobody wins in this
They're
situation.
cannibalizing the whole.
Yeah,
the
it's
whole,
like,
but both the franchises.
you have 51 other weeks out of the year to choose
Right.
from.
Yeah.
Have at it.
It was funny watching the interview with Chris Evans when a reporter basically clues him in on that, and he's like, "Yeah, wait, what? He's like, really?
What? Yeah, so I think one of them's definitely going to move, and both of them, have a case for April now. Marvel could move there and say, "Yeah, this is our date, right? We did, we
Right.
made this. They set a record for opening weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were like, we can do that again. That's our date now.
Yep.
But DC could do the same thing. They could say, look, we're going to get the jump on everything else.
They both moved.
And they both moved on the same day. They moved to the April date. God damn it!
But you know what's funny is like DC in the past has had a lot of luck with mid-July. I think they released a lot of movies in that third week of July.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, because Harry Potter, they did that too. Yeah,
and that slot is still open in 2016.
Yeah. Well, I think they're also. I think Warner Brothers. I mean, I think it was also like a fuck you to Marvel, but at the same time, I think it was also, we've already delayed it. Like, we don't want to delay it more than we want to. So I think that's also part of it too. Because by then you're in the middle of the summer. So
yeah, I just think the fuck you to Marvel is the wrong way to go.
Oh, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Especially when you're putting out one movie every 3 or 4 years.
And the other thing is too is that now that Captain America has made all this freaking money. I mean, how much did it make? $300 million worldwide.
It's about $300 million right now.
Yeah, in a week and 10 days or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's worldwide, not just the States.
But it's doing a much better overseas than it did the first movie did.
Yeah,
Which you would kind of expect. Captain America might not do so.
Yeah,
right. Overseas, but it's doing really well. It set a record in freaking China and a few other countries, and I think it tripled Iron Man 3's opening day in China.
Wow.
Like that.
And they filmed special scenes for China in Iron Man 3.
They got a special edition.
So I mean, he's proven himself now that he can open the movie and be big and stuff like that. Whereas Superman, Man of Steel did pretty well when it came out. I mean, it was #1 for the weekend, but. And they may think, well, we're putting Batman in this. It's like, well, you're forgetting one major part of that equation that's not going to be there this time. And Nolan's not going to be there. Yeah. So people don't know what they're going to get with this Batman. It's not Christian Bale, and it's not Nolan. So you're just like, it's probably good, but we don't know. Yeah. So,
it's still not going to keep people from the seats. So.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is that Warner Brothers, if they had Christian Bale, at least as Batman, I would say, okay, yeah, you have a right to be like, fuck you. Right. But you've got a new Batman. The Superman movie was divided a lot of people, so it's like, you have no real reason to be like, yeah, we're fuck you. It's like, they need to back off.
And don't forget, Wonder Woman's in that movie as well.
That's right, yeah.
Which is yet another stupid reason why that should not be called Batman versus Superman. And also Wonder Woman, It's,
Well, women always take second billing. Oh. We just lost some of our audience.
Bloop, bloop. No, I think if she has a big part in it, they should call it Trinity. But if she doesn't, they should call it World's Finest.
It's not big.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that it's not as.
It's just kind of a setup.
She might just be Diana Prince.
Yeah, because also the big rumor that's going around for that is that they're going to do Justice League, soon thereafter, which would probably be a mistake as well. But
well, I mean. There was a rumor that it was going to be back-to-back. They were going to film them back-to-back, but I think that's been debunked now. It's not. They're not filming them back-to-back. And we know that Gal Gadot, who's playing Wonder Woman, she signed for two this movie, a Justice League movie, and a Wonder Woman solo movie.
So they might do a Wonder Woman solo movie in between.
Whenever, yeah. They'll probably have to look at Marvel's release dates and go, oh, yeah, we'll take this one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean...
we'll come out the same day as Captain Marvel. What do you think of that?
And that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible to me because not even 10 years ago, DC was like, they did Batman Begins, and that was like... It was solid for them. It wasn't a huge hit, but it was solid, and it got Batman back on the map. And then, they did... It gained traction on... DVD and all that stuff, and then 3 years later they did The Dark Knight, and then Marvel did Iron Man. Yeah. They also did Hulk, which wasn't as big a hit. Iron Man did pretty well, but then Dark Knight just blew up, and so DC's like, oh, we got all the muscle, and then all of a sudden, in the span of 2008 to now, Marvel has just like eclipsed them.
Well, I mean,
they've had the plan.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
Well,
Marvel has had the plan.
That's what we talked about.
DC it's just now getting the plan.
That's what we talked. Well, the problem with DC, when we talked about this last time you were on the Thor episode, was that DC does not have a Kevin Feige, and they need a Kevin Feige if they're going to do it.
And they're projected through 2028.
Yeah, Marvel's movies are projected through 2028.
Yeah,
insane.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think it's so much that DC doesn't have a plan. I think they had a plan. Starting with Green Lantern,
you're right.
And so now they were left with, oh God, they're going to attempt at starting a new universe. What do we do now? So let's reboot, Superman again. Right now, we're going to start another. We're going to have another attempt at a shared universe.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Aquaman.
The Rock has been rumored to have a DC role.
I think it's Lobo.
You think it's Lobo?
I think it's Lobo because they say it's somebody who's never been seen before, and
well, he's talking it up. He's like, I didn't want to do it unless I was as powerful as Superman, and there wasn't a rich history behind the character.
Oh, maybe he's Shazam.
God, that would be bad.
He looks like him.
Well, some people were thinking Black Adam, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of The Rock in general, so it doesn't really matter.
You mean you're not going to see Hercules?
I might watch that one on DVD, or not.
Nice, nice.
I'm impressed with where he's taken his career. Let me say that.
The man has made a lot of money.
Yeah,
he has. Oh yeah. I like Dwayne Johnson. I mean, I don't dislike him, but I don't like all the movies he's been in.
He's like,
that's what I mean.
Like Samuel L. Jackson typically plays Samuel L. Jackson. The
Right.
Rock, to me, typically plays The Rock.
He always.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he's the modern day Schwarzenegger. I mean, that's basically what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, because we just saw a movie with Schwarzenegger, and he's not good.
And you've also seen a comic book movie
Not
with
all
Arnold
his fault.
Schwarzenegger too.
Right? Oh God.
Chill out. Who killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
I think I want to say that I think they're a little bit more mature now, but then they did Green Lantern, so I don't fucking know.
With race cars on a racetrack.
Yeah.
You always bring that up, and that's not even the worst part of that movie.
To me, it's the most offensively bad.
Oh my God, no! That
part of that movie. Well, besides, I know, right? I mean that.
I didn't even mind that.
How could you not mind that?
The thing I didn't like about Green Lantern was just that the story was just total garbage, and the screenplay was clearly two screenplays stapled together. It was awful.
The Dookie Cloud.
There was no reason to have Parallax in that movie at all.
See, I think they should have just stuck with Parallax
or
done that story.
Oh, instead of Hammond,
or stuck with the story, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that was the original story. I don't remember if we talked about this before, but the original story was to have Parallax attacking Oa. And then Hal Jordan, in the end, would have to collect all these different rings and use them all at once to take down Parallax.
Right.
And everything was taking place on Oa.
Right.
And they're like, no. That'll turn audiences off. We have to set it on Earth.
No.
And so that's how we got Hector Hammond in there.
I'm not a big Ryan Reynolds fan. I don't hate the guy, but I felt bad for him in that movie because he was not the reason.
He was not the problem.
He was not the problem with that movie. No. And everyone blamed it on him. Yeah. And it was not his fault.
Right.
And I blame Green Lantern for the fact that we don't have a Deadpool movie yet. Because now Ryan Reynolds is apparently,
box office poison.
Yeah, he's poison.
Because he had a string of bad movies, a string of flops.
Yeah.
R.I.P.D. That movie was awful.
Was that his last one or was it Safe House?
Oh, no. R.I.P.D. came after that. But he did Turbo, too. That didn't do
well.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Speaking of setting a movie all on Oa, that's a good segue into Marvel's other movie that comes out this year. Not to let they put Captain America out in April, but not to let movie fans think that they're going to leave the summer completely unmarveled.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy comes out August 1st. It's a doozy.
They just released a clip. Did you watch
I haven't watched it yet.
Did you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's a gamble of a movie in that for Marvel these days. But people are going to go see it just because it's got that name stamp to it.
And that's the only thing that's going to make people go see it.
Agreed.
Because I mean, these are
Everybody
characters.
Knows.
I mean, at least even with Iron Man, who was like a B level character before he became Iron Man. People kind of knew. They're like he was in a cartoon and stuff like that. People were like, "Oh, I know Iron Man."
Yeah, people know who Iron Man is.
Nobody knows who these people are. Nobody knows who the Guardians of the Galaxy are.
Until they announced the movie, I had never heard.
No, this was B level stuff. Yeah.
No. This is like C or D level. I mean, like it's down there. It's not Brother Voodoo, but you're getting there. Yeah. And the first trailer came out 2 months ago, something like that.
Yeah. Super Bowl, right?
Was it? I thought it was after that. I thought it was in February. I think it was late February.
I think it was around the Super Bowl.
Was Super Bowl? Okay. You were a bigger fan of it than I was.
Yes.
And I think Dirty A liked it more than I did too.
Yeah, I did.
To me, this is a movie, and for those of you who don't know Guardians of the Galaxy, which is pretty much everybody, Guardians of the Galaxy centers around a character named Peter Quill, also known as Star-Lord.
Self-named.
Yeah, who calls him that?
Yeah.
Mainly himself.
Yeah.
Which was the funniest part in the trailer, I thought. But He is a half human, half alien guy, and he basically hops around the universe or the galaxy, getting into trouble. And he has not knowing how the movie goes. He has companions that go with him. One of which is a talking raccoon.
Yes.
Another is a talking tree,
Right.
walking talking tree. And
who only says 3 words?
yes, he only says 3 words. I am Groot.
I am Groot. Yeah.
And the raccoon is Rocket Raccoon. And then there's Gamora, who's a female assassin, played by Zoe Saldana. And then Dave Bautista, he was a wrestler, right?
He's a pro wrestler.
Former pro wrestler. Dave Bautista plays Drax the Destroyer. And Star-Lord is played by Chris Pratt from Parks and Recreation.
Bradley Cooper.
And the Lego movie.
Bradley Cooper, huh?
Voices are
He was in the Lego movie.
Yes, he was in Lego movie.
Yeah.
Yes. And Bradley Cooper, Dirty A's right. Bradley Cooper voices Rocket Raccoon. And Vin Diesel voices Groot.
Which I guess is okay if he only says 3 words.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can
Yeah,
trust.
pretty
Hey,
much
no.
yeah.
Vin Diesel, he did a great job on Iron Giant.
He did do, but pretty much all he said in Iron Giant was Superman.
Okay, so anyway.
So I Am Groot is like, this
Yeah.
is breaking new
Step
ground
up.
for him.
Yeah.
Now the
And
reason
the cars.
this apparently was a real passion project of Feige's.
Yeah.
And the trailer that came out, it's a movie that I want to love because it has all the shit in it that I love. It's like a Star Wars
Super
flavor.
fantasy, yeah.
Yes, sci-fi fantasy. It's it takes place all in space. The thing is, they're gonna make it. It looks like a comedy more than
It's
not.
my understanding that the comics are kind of. I mean, the comics for this.
It's
are kind of
quirky. It's quirky,
Yeah.
but this seems like the humor for me in the trailer just felt a little off. Just like the timing was off, or something didn't ring true to me about the humor in the trailer. I'm hoping that a newer trailer will come out soon, probably maybe X-Men-ish or Spider-Man.
He said a couple months, so I don't know if he means that was like a month ago. So
Right.
maybe X-Men
Probably
time,
May, probably X-Men.
Yeah.
I don't know what's coming out in June. So
I didn't feel the same. I thought it was pretty funny.
I thought it was funny.
I like Chris Pratt a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Chris Pratt a lot too.
But the
It's
funniest part for me in the trailer was when they're doing the kind of the short character intros by having them all lined up in the
Like
the
a
witness
lineup.
box or the lineup box.
The lineup box, yeah.
And like they're showing all their. If you look really closely, they're showing all their transgressions or
Yeah.
crimes, and Rocket Raccoons is just like it just keeps going and going.
John C. Reilly's also in the movie, and he is in the trailer.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best part of the trailer. I thought he was hilarious.
See that's we're the opposite. I thought he was the weakest part of the
See,
See, I
I think
like
you got your, we both love John C. Reilly, but I think you got your John C. Reilly glasses on because he didn't really do anything in the trailer.
Yeah, plus,
Yeah, right.
you know what? I don't think anything in that trailer. Well, I mean, besides some of the beginning parts and
Right.
the stuff in the
And
credits,
don't get me
it's not
wrong.
gonna be in the movie.
Yeah.
It's- like I don't think that lineup.
You don't think that's gonna be in the
Oh
movie?
yeah, I don't think so.
That's not going to be in the movie.
I think that was solely to
introduce
introduce
them?
people.
That's
to
just
the
introduce the
audience.
If that's the
I
case,
agree.
then great. Because I will say this: the movie looks fantastic. I mean, it looks great as far as like the special effects and everything like that. All the aliens look really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But it's something for me that I'm cautiously optimistic, just because that first trailer is just kind of like something just didn't feel
And
right.
it
to
was
me
the
about
end of the last Thor that set this up, right? With the collector.
Correct, right. Benicio del Toro plays.
Which that
the
had me
collector.
worried a little bit because that looked like a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
It did. It
Not-
really
yeah,
felt
you
that
know,
way.
not-
And I
not
love
to-
Doctor Who,
all right,
but
very good.
it doesn't
So-
deal with Marvel.
Yeah,
the same.
the look and feel of it in that
You're right.
post-credit scene, I was like, I don't know about.
You're right. It was like a different budget.
Yeah,
was
it
put in
was.
for that. Yeah.
And but James Gunn said that they got the script for that morning, they shot it that day, and then they shipped it out.
Okay.
So it was
Right.
like boom, 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 done, get it out.
And that's director James Gunn, who
Yes,
did
director James Gunn.
Slither, and he also did
Super.
Super, which was a very, very dark
Yeah.
superhero film.
Oh my god, yes.
Did you see that? Did you see Super?
I haven't seen it.
With Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page?
I need to
It's
see it.
pretty good.
not-
It's
not on
funny.
Netflix.
I went in thinking
might be.
comedy.
I don't know.
This is going to be funny. And
Oh, it
at
is
the beginning
dark.
it was like ha ha ha, and then you watch him kill somebody with a wrench.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I need
right
to
there
see
in the
that
street,
one.
and I'm like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it gets dark real fast.
Yeah, real fast.
But it was decent. It was pretty good.
It was okay. I don't know much about James Gunn, so
Right.
when they announced him, I
Well, there
kind
was
of indifferent.
there was somebody who was in Slither who might possibly be making a cameo
Yes.
in Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yes.
and that's one Nathan Fillion.
who people
Yeah,
have
they
been
just announced that this week, right?
Yeah, he kind of like teased about it. He's like, yeah, maybe you never know.
he's going to be either in so much makeup that you can't recognize him,
Right.
or he's just not even in the movie at all, and he's going to be a voiceover for, Alien 10.
Maybe, yeah.
Just something for super geeks to be able to say, hey.
But the thing with Guardians of the Galaxy, like we said, it's a passion project for Feige, but at the same time, it looks like it's also going to help set up Avengers 3.
Yeah.
Not the one that comes out next year,
Right.
Age of Ultron, but the one that comes after that.
Yeah.
So that's why this movie's pretty important, because Marvel's not going to release, like I said, Brother Voodoo. They're not going to release Brother Voodoo and
Not yet.
Forbish Man.
Maybe that'll be 2029.
Yeah, maybe.
But also, it's not like they're going to half-ass this movie either. I mean,
Oh, no,
they don't
I
tarnish their image
No.
going into
Avengers, right?
Avengers, right?
Yeah,
So,
because
they're definitely trying for this. They're
Right.
aiming for the stars here.
Yeah.
And speaking of
Literally.
stars, I mean, Thor was sort of their first gamble with the cosmic side
Yeah.
of their,
Yep,
of their
didn't
universe.
pay off. Yep.
Wow. We need to do a whole nother podcast where Dirty A and I just go back and forth about Thor, because I don't want to take over this podcast by
please don't.
It would be point counterpoint.
listing all the ways that he's
Point
wrong
again.
about Thor. But anyway, let's move past that.
I've got nothing wrong. I got nothing against Thor, the comic book character.
Okay.
It's the movies I have not cared for at all.
Right.
They need to be darker, especially this last one.
Yeah.
Like, the comedy in that was ridiculous.
It was already called The Dark World. What more do you want?
Yeah, it should have been called Light Bright,
I mean, it had dark elves.
and it had Kat Dennings.
It did have Kat Dennings. Yeah.
Yeah.
And her intern.
So yeah, I give Thor shit. I don't have any problem against the comic book character Thor. I just don't. The movies haven't done anything for
Well, you would get what you want if they do that God Butcher story. If they do that,
I
you
would love a
would
God
you would
Butcher
totally
story,
get what you
yeah.
want, because that's a pretty cool
That's
story.
what I want to see, a dark Thor.
See, I don't know if they can do God Butcher, though. I mean, I would love to see the God
It just
Butcher on
doesn't
screen.
fit into the.
Well, no, because the Thor in the MCU is sort of this. They're not gods; they're just really advanced aliens. Type
Okay.
deal.
Right.
You know that the Asgard is not some heaven with all the godly warriors. It's
That's
just
true.
another civilization. And in the God Butcher, you have Indian gods.
Right.
Oh, I see.
You have,
I see.
all these different.
It does. It
pantheons.
changes the universe a lot.
Right. It assumes it's a universe full of gods, and that is not the Marvel universe.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think they could. Well, I mean, they never really adapt these stories one to one.
Right, yeah. I mean, they could make it something else, or maybe he
Yeah.
goes to Asgard thinking they're gods, or
Right.
something like that, and fights him, or something like that. Because he was a cool character.
They
I mean,
could just be leaders of other advanced civilizations
Yeah,
around
something like that.
the galaxy or whatnot.
Yeah.
And they could adapt the story that way. But I mean, that the reason I like that story so much is it introduces a brand new villain.
Yeah,
And he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's scary, and it's somebody that you would worry about Thor's,
well-being.
Is he going to survive this or not? Because I don't think we've really reached a point in any of his movies where I'm like, oh, he could die here.
That's my point. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
No, it's,
But he's like Superman. Like Superman's got the same problem.
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
powerful that it's like
Superman 2.
Oh god. I was just talking to my buddy last night. And I'm just like, he was talking to me, and he mentioned he liked Superman 2 better than Man of Steel. And I was like, look, I said Superman 2. Watch that again today. It does not hold up.
No.
I'm like, I love Terrence Stamp's Zod, but it does not hold up.
No.
it doesn't.
But so then, beyond Guardians of the Galaxy, you have Avengers next year.
Age of Ultron. Yeah.
Some stuff has already started leaking out for that.
Yeah. So
Spader.
we've seen we
He's
haven't
not
seen
there
Spader yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen Spader yet.
But,
We won't.
we won't.
No, he'll be. It's just.
And
Well, no,
really, do you want to see Spader in a mocap suit?
No, I really don't.
No, I don't want to see.
I
that
really
either.
don't
I
wanna
don't.
see
I don't
that.
need spy pics of James Spader, but we have gotten set pics of Scarlet Witch
Yes.
and Quicksilver.
Who cares?
It's funny that the first day of shooting, or the first day when these pictures started to come out, they showed Quicksilver,
Mhm.
and people were like, "What the fuck is wrong with his hair?" He was
Yes.
like, it was more blonde
Yeah.
and kind of poofy. And,
But then he had like a dark beard.
yeah, he had the like Point Break dark beard.
Yeah.
And the very next day, his hair changed on set. It was more silver.
Yeah.
Listen to the audience
yeah,
a little bit.
It's almost like that first day they put them out there and like let the world
See.
see.
Or maybe he was just out there.
Before we start filming, let's see what people think.
Maybe he was just out there as like a placeholder or something like that too.
Well, they had him in action shots. I mean, he was running around
That's
the
true,
scene.
Or maybe they figure they're gonna CGI it, so they'll blur out all that crap anyway.
Yeah, maybe. But he looked much more like Quicksilver on the second day of shooting. And much better. And Scarlet Witch looks okay.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hot Olsen sister.
The talented Olsen is in this movie.
Yeah, she's hot too.
Yeah, and she look. I mean, I can't wait. Well, I guess we can't talk about that.
No, yeah. Because there's.
So, well, none of that. I'll just say I'm looking forward to her performance.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they also in part of the set pics they had this robot-looking thing walking around. A guy with this these metal plates all over his torso, and he had a poofy winter jacket underneath, but whatever.
And he was a stand-in for Ultron.
Well, maybe. Some people think yes, that's at least one of the incarnations of Ultron, which would be interesting because he does have sort of the side antennas that he has in the comics.
But he also built multiple copies, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. But in those pictures, he had a complete metal mouth, face. Where in the comics, he's got that frozen pumpkin grin, which I never thought Whedon would use because Whedon makes fun of that.
Right.
He said that Ultron would emote in this movie. So I thought, this is what was going to be parts of it might be a CG sort of stand-in for some things, but so some people thought it was Ultron. Other people seem to think it's a Hydra Dreadnought, which looks similar to this.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It has a similar design to what we saw in those set pictures. So one theory is that they're fighting off these dreadnoughts in the beginning, and then Ultron uses them as sort of a base.
Oh, there you go.
For his physical body.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they showed Cap's new suit. At first, it was just the stunt double, and then they actually had pictures of Chris Evans.
Evans is in South
looks great.
Yeah,
looks really good.
I love the Winter Soldier costume because that's my favorite sort of costume from the comics.
Oh, the stealth suit.
The dark blue. Because it's always killed me that Captain America, whose suit is supposed to be based on the colors of the American flag, does not have the color blue that's in the American flag.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. It's like that
light
baby
it's been
blue.
That light, sort of.
I like that traditional costume.
But I think the reason they had those in the old days was because that's the only colors they had. To print.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do the sort of American flag blue, and then fanboys revolt anytime you change any small aspect of a costume, so they just kept it.
Well, it was darker on some things, like when he premiered, when he came back in Avengers, like Avengers 4, I guess that issue. I mean, it looks a lot darker than it did, but
they've tried, but they've always gone back to that sort of classic blue. That he's but the new suit looks great.
Yeah, it's basically a combination of his old one from First Avenger, I guess the
Winter Soldier suit.
Winter Soldier suit, yeah.
It looks a lot like the suit he's wearing in the beginning, the dark blue stealth suit.
Captain Puerto Rico.
I saw that. And then after Avengers next year will be Ant-Man, which is Paul Rudd.
Yeah, that's a kind of a gamble too.
It is.
It is. Edgar Wright is going to write and direct it,
which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
It would be if it's even moderately successful, it will be his most successful film by a mile. He doesn't write blockbusters.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim made
he's very niche.
$1.50.
Which is a great fucking movie.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim's great.
Yeah,
it's great. And then all his movies that he did with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are good.
The trilogies are all wonderful. But not blockbusters.
And
not known for his box office. But that movie is interesting. I think it might exist. It'll exist inside the Marvel universe, but I don't think it's necessarily going to tie into a lot of other things. That's my kind of feeling of it. Right. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Ant-Man. The original Ant-Man was Hank Pym, who was a wife beater, and
all right, he was not a wife beater that often, okay?
Often.
So there was that one time, but then there was that other time, But Reed Richardson slapped around Sue. before in the comics.
Yeah.
And
But he has a giant comic book hand.
He does.
Um,
And Spider-Man has slapped Mary Jane. I mean, Hank Pym gets a lot of shit for being a wife beater, and he
Right.
should, because I mean, in the Ultimates, he was a despicable character.
Oh,
He
yeah.
hit a
But
woman
everybody
once.
was a despicable character in the Ultimates, so he was not alone in that regard.
Yeah.
But people kind of forget that other comic
Right.
Of
characters
course,
have
yeah.
had this despicable behavior as well. He's just such a
What the real question is,
boring fucking character.
what's wrong with Stan Lee? That's what the real question is. That he's making his characters hit all these women.
Right.
But
Projecting.
so what they're going to
Projecting.
do with this is the only two confirmed roles that have been cast are Ant-Man.
Yeah.
It's going to be the second incarnation of Ant-Man, which is Scott Lang, and that's Paul Rudd.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
Michael Douglas is going to be playing Hank Pym.
Yeah.
There's other people who have been technically cast in it, but they haven't been completely confirmed as who they are. Probably Comic-Con, I would guess. That's when they're going to start announcing them. But Evangeline Lilly is in it.
Yep.
People think she's going to end up being the Wasp,
Yep.
which would work.
I think they might change because Wasp and Janet and Hank are a couple in the comics. But
Right.
That's not going to happen, I don't think, with
No.
Michael Douglas. Although who knows? I mean, it's
Hey.
No,
No.
that's not going to happen.
so.
I think
she might be
He
his
was.
daughter.
I mean, he was
Yeah.
married. I mean, he was married to
Captain J.
Captain
Jones,
Jones. So.
Yeah, that's true.
who about 10 years ago would have been the most perfect Wonder Woman you could probably find, but
Yeah, well, WB kind of.
yeah, they kind of fucked that up.
Yeah.
And then beyond that,
Yeah.
they're thinking, well, you got Cap 3 is going to come out.
Cap 3 is announced. They've hired writers for Thor 3. You'll be happy to know.
Fine.
And
Yeah.
Cap 3 they've been working on since last year.
Yeah.
They revealed that just recently.
And they've already signed the Russos, who directed The Winter Soldier.
Yeah. The Russo brothers did, and we should mention them because they directed Winter Soldier and they did a fantastic job.
They were
So
great.
it's-
They were great. And not a lot of people thought they would be great.
Yeah.
Including me. I don't watch Community, so I saw one episode, and that was the D&D episode, which was
Right.
fantastic, but I've
Yeah.
never seen another episode.
Right.
And when I heard they were hiring the Community directors to do the next Captain America movie, I was
Yeah.
like, okay. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
They proved you wrong.
They did prove you wrong. And it's, like I said, it's the best solo movie to date. And
Yeah.
easily the best fighting and action I've seen in a
Yeah,
Marvel movie.
100%.
And Marvel has a history of, in my opinion, poor finales to their movies. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've thought about this. Iron Man has never beaten anybody. In an
Yeah,
Iron
you
Man movie.
mentioned that
Yeah.
before. I never
Yeah,
thought about it.
that's
Yeah.
right.
No, you don't think about it until after the fact, and it's like, wait a second, he's needed help in every single movie that he's had.
You're the
Yep.
worst, Tony Stark.
He is the worst superhero. No,
I mean, he is a alcoholic.
Well,
Briefly.
Supposedly,
for like 5 minutes in the first movie.
in that he holds the scotch in his hand
Yeah.
at one point in the movie.
He has consumed alcohol on
Right.
film, therefore he's an alcoholic. No, but those finales have not been great.
No, yeah.
Nah.
The Thor finales have not been great. I mean, he beat Destroyer in like a minute,
Yeah.
maybe. Avengers doesn't fit that. I mean, Avengers I thought was really good in the end, but as far as
Well,
the solo movies go,
Except for the one part that even Josh Whedon says he's sorry for.
Josh.
I said Josh.
Josh.
I said Josh.
Okay. You mean
The,
the power down?
Yes. Even he's like, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, we kind of had to do that just to get rid of him at the end because we couldn't spend any more time on him. The war was over, so it's like, what do we do? We'll just flip them all."
We'll just rip off the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
No one should ever say that ever. So,
But as far as like one-on-one fights in the end of a movie, they haven't really delivered, I don't think. But the Winter Soldier changes that.
yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
it was emotional.
Yeah.
that final fight,
Yeah.
and it was exciting. It did not go the way I expected it to go. They wove in a scene from the Winter Soldier comic.
Oh, cool.
They had a really cool scene in the comic where Steve and Bucky, are in the midst of a conflict, but they stop and they're, Steve's trying to talk him out of it. And it's an emotional scene in the comic, too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think they did it better in the movie.
Oh, okay, cool.
It came off better in the movie, and they changed some of the lines, and it works a little bit better. But that final fight puts pretty much every other Marvel movie to shame.
Right. We will give one minor little spoiler
Okay.
that they do mention someone's name in this movie.
Yes.
Stephen Strange.
Stephen Strange.
Who is, of course, Sorcerer Supreme,
Yes.
Doctor Strange.
This is another, I think, one of Kevin Feige's pet projects. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a big
Yeah.
Doctor Strange fan, so I don't think it was ever a mystery that was going to get made.
Right.
Nobody knows when this movie's coming out, but it's probably going to be. It might be the second movie in 2016 that they haven't announced yet.
They might start going to 3 movies a year.
He did mention that as a possibility.
Because they got to do Black Panther. They have
to do Black Panther. They have to get a female-led.
Yes, they have to do Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call it.
Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, whatever. They have to get that movie out.
They do. And then they also have to do that Agent Carter TV show. I think that will go a long way to helping ease that, because also Haley Atwell is hot.
I would watch that. Yeah.
Even if they put Sky in it, even if they put the Sky in it too, as a hologram from the future.
I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know if I could stand, even with Haley Atwell.
No!
I don't know if I could stand watching Sky.
She's pretty bad.
She is pretty bad. She's cute, but she's bad. She's bad.
Yeah, I mean,
but Haley Atwell. Come on.
I know. But
she was great. I mean, she makes a cameo in Winter Soldier. She's great.
She does. Yeah, she's fantastic. I mean, she does a great Peggy Carter, and that romance, I think, is the best one in the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah. By a
long shot.
I got to be honest. In the first Thor, I thought that Natalie Portman and Hemsworth had good chemistry in Thor, and then it just seemed to kind of go away a little bit in the Dark World.
It was just kind of a crush. It wasn't like a romance. But then they sort of got together in the end. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah.
But then they're
5 minutes later she died.
She's all mad at him, for not calling. Basically, I'm like, you guys didn't really have much.
Yeah, there was really not.
What are you so mad about? The Thor romance so far has just been terrible.
You just want him to get with Sif.
I do want him to get with Sif.
You just want him to get with Loki.
Yeah. If they have to go that route, so be it. But a lot of shippers on Tumblr will be happy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, don't look that up.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
So that'll do it. Go see Captain America. Go see all the Marvel movies. Go see Guardians of the Galaxy later this summer.
Ooga chuck.
I'll put that in at the end of the thing.
Yeah.
Good, there you go.
Yeah.
Good thinking. Good thinking.
Yeah.
Nice thinking.
Quick on your feet.
But yeah, Captain America is best movie in theaters right now, except for maybe Grand Budapest Hotel. But
Grand Poo's Hotel?
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so
It's
fun.
about a hotel, right?
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And we got through this whole podcast without even talking about the Fantastic Four. See you next time, everybody.